right, October 20th, 2023. It's 10:41 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Moving some. I ain't gonna get fired on you. Moving boxes on your day off. Stealing boxes. Anyways, I'm just driving. And as a libertarian, the default for the wars and everything is basically peace on earth, you know? The government shouldn't be funding, printing money and going to war. Now, having said that, there's still a pragmatical thing that's going on right now, because there is a war, and people are like, well, pick a side because there is a war. Everybody claims to want peace already, so you can't just claim to want peace too. We all want peace. We're just blood-hungry, thirsty warmongers for one side of the war, and you better pick one. So, I'm just thinking about this, and if this is a religious war, okay? Just purely religious, where you have Judaism on one side and you have Islam, I guess, or the Muslim faith on the other side, right? So the Palestinians are the Muslims and the Israelis are Judaism. If those are the two things, well, I will have to go with Palestine and the Muslims, and let me explain to you why. I don't know if you're familiar with Israel, but they're pro-LGBTQ community, so pro-gay. They're pro-transgenderism. I think they even say, like, you can't be in the middle. Like, you can go switch over, but you can't be in the middle. That's a sin. So they want you to switch. I think it's technically because they want the gene sets to stop. But also, like, when they're pro-Jew and pro-Israel and anti-outsiders. That's one of the things that's interesting. So, like, when the Ethiopians came, the Ethiopian Jews, they secretly sterilized the women. And to the point where that not only were they sterilizing them, when they couldn't get pregnant, they were giving them sterilization drugs and fertility drugs and not telling them. And it was, I mean, this is not conspiracy. It's, you know, it was deemed a conspiracy at one time, and then they admitted that that's what they did. But if it's a religious war, being pro-LGBTQ plus A plus whatever, and being pro-trans, and smiting down and murdering your enemies, none of that is in goes along with Judaism. However, the Palestinians are actually trying to be based in their religion and get rid of not only Jews but LGBTQ people, trans people, all that stuff. Keep the women sacred. So if it's a strict holy war and you're picking sides based on the religion, then you got to pick the Muslims because they're the only ones actually following their religion. Now, if you look at it as two states fighting in progressivism and the UN and moving forward in the one world government agenda 23 or whatever, then you got to side with Israel because it has nothing to do with religion. It has everything to do with the progression of the Middle East and moving them towards a one world government run by NATO and the UN and the powers that be, the shadow governments that print the money. They want one world currency. So the reason that the U.S. economy won't crash for a while with MMT, which is modern monetary theory, is because I think they've decided that it's going to be USD or USDC, which is going to be the UN or NATO's global currency. So as they print more, they'll add more people to the list that are using it, or that's their plan. For example, like when Obama was in office and people were worried about collapses, and Zaire collapsed, in a couple other countries in Africa, they took on the US dollar as their reserve currency. So as you print this more money, and people are like, oh, you can't print all $33 trillion and not expect the economy to collapse. And you're like, you can if that economy is 360 million people. But if that economy is 8 billion people on the planet, then it's still pretty bad that you're in the negative. But you can balance that out by everybody on the planet using that currency in the long run. That will prolong the mess up until they can get their greedy hands on more resources. But I digress. I'm at my location.